Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and droids across our amazing empire, to today's video. One of my favorite series that we've been doing for multiple years now, ranking every single character in Galaxy of Heroes from best to worst, and we're doing it for all of 2020. It has been a fun tradition doing this for many years now. And before we get into 2021, let's hope those clocks tick around. When December 31st, 11:59 p.m. comes around the corner, we got to talk about what has happened in Galaxy Heroes in terms of the character meta landscape. What is everything looking like at the end of 2020? We have every single character that has been added in 2020, especially the latest Beskar armor, Mandalorian. And before we get started with today's video, as always, there will be links down below in the video description to one online spreadsheet that I made. If you're someone that's more of a text spreadsheet person, the command control to find a character, boom, I got you, buddy. Links down below in the video description, as well as the link to today's video graphic. And one more thing before we get going, as I said, this has been a multi-year tradition ever since 2017 that I've been doing this. I want to thank you all for your amazing support. It is one of my most popular video series. Last time I got over 100,000 views and almost 6,000 likes. Thank you guys so much for making my life absolutely blessed as we go into 2021. But enough feely talk. Let's talk about the list, and we're gonna actually start off with the Youngling category. Now, normally we don't really talk much about the Youngling category because not much is to talk about there. If you guys don't know, the Youngling category is traditionally where we see the worst characters in Galaxy of Heroes. And a couple things to point out. Firstly, this list is looking at overall character viability and not so much squad synergy. However, we do implement squad synergy a little bit in this graphic. We start off by placing a character where they rank overall in the game as a standalone character, and then you might see a plus 1, 2, or plus 3 next to a character, meaning when they're put into a certain squad, they can move up several tiers depending on what modifier I put next to them. And I want to actually talk about this category first here because, wow, this year one of the biggest zero to hero moments has been the Jawas. With the addition of Rey, Jawas saw a huge increase in viability, where now they're seen as a very important counter team to Darth Vaders that try to go through Galactic Legends raids. And we've seen so much other stuff come out of the Jawas. So although Jawas individually aren't the craziest, once you put Jawas together, especially with Chief Nebit, Jawa Engineer, and Jawa Scavenger, those guys can take out things like Mon Mothma as well as Geonosians. But once you throw them into Galactic Legends Rey, holy cow, you get one of the best challenge tier rankle rate teams. You got one of the best Geonosis territory battle teams, and you got a very solid Grand Arena team as well. So Jawas are the perfect example of what the plus 1, 2s, and 3 means. When you put them in the right team, they're going to be supercharged. Not every single character gets that type of love, but other examples in the Youngling category are going to be the Hoth Rebel Scout. With the addition of Mon Mothma earlier on this year, Hoth Rebel Scout is a cornerstone component to keep the Rebel fighter engine moving. Keeping the list moving along, we got to talk about the Padawan category. Now, the Padawan category, unlike the Younglings, they have a little bit better standalone character viability. And since the last time I made this list back in September 2020, there has not been that many changes to this list. The Youngling category saw the biggest changes, for example, with the Jawas. They became so much more important ever since the last time we made this video. But the Padawan category, not that much movement has happened. But I do want to point out a couple examples to try to help you understand what the Padawan category is looking like. And I actually want to talk about Aurra Sing and Vandor Chewbacca. Those are going to probably be the good slight changes we got since September 2020. I'm giving Aurra Sing a plus 2 modifier. Now, by herself, not a crazy character, without Mandalorian and Greef Karga, and not all that hot. But once you start using her with the Mandalorian, the non-Beskar armor version, and Greef Karga, you now have yourself a top-tier bounty hunter team that can take out things like General Anakin Skywalker, as well as multiple other top teams out there. And that's because Mandalorian and Greef Karga, they raise the viability of some of these characters. And Vandor Chewbacca is another one that got a slight increase in their modifiers, where now they're getting a plus 2. They're a standalone viability somewhere in that Padawan ranking. It's okay all-around viability, but with Scoundrels and Bounty Hunters kind of getting a big push this year in 2020, especially with the release of Beskar Armor Mandalorian, we've shown how Vandor Chewbacca seems to be a really sneaky way to make your Beskar Armor Mandalorian a little bit more powerful, whether it's going to be in Geonosis territories or inside a Grand Arena. Vandor Chewbacca constantly reviving pulls out a lot of fun combos. And I think one other example I want to put out there, it didn't change since the last time, but the B1 the B1 Battle Droid is another great Padawan example. By itself, not really all that crazy. You're not going to be plugging B1 Battle Droid in a lot of different teams, but when you throw it in a separatist lineup, whether that be General Grievous or a Count Dooku, Newt Gunray type of team, you are going to see a crazy boost in viability to B1 Battle Droid. So although way back when standalone character viability was the most important thing to examine, times have changed where, yeah, standalone character viability is important, but ultimately at the end of the day, squad synergy is important, and that's why we see a lot of movement in this graph depending on what teams you're throwing them in. Next category, we're going to start moving into the middle of the rung with the Knight category, and the Knights are very good characters. They have good standalone viability, not amazing standalone viability, but good standalone viability that you can plug into a lot of different teams. But also in this category, you're going to be seeing a lot of characters, those +1s and those +2s, because these characters are really powerful once you start putting them in the right lineups. In this list, you really want to try to have as many of the Knight category characters moving up to the Grandmaster and ultimately, of course, Galactic Legends. You don't want to have too many Padawans and Younglings unless you really want to try to make those really fun little lineups like the Jawas. But Knights, a lot of these characters are going to be incredibly important. And since the last time I made this list, a lot of action has changed here. One, we moved a lot of characters from the Master category down a little bit into the Knight category, but we also got a few new additions here. And I want to talk about those new additions first, those being IG-11 and Queel. And you're going to notice we're giving them both a +2 modifier. So let me explain what their ranking is right now. So right now, standalone viability, Queel and IG-11 are somewhere in that middle of the wrong Knight category. They have good plug and play viability. For example, right now, you're seeing Queel and IG-11 with a Jedi training raid team. We've made them work in like Jango Fett teams. It's a really fun combo with Queel speed, IG-11's durability. You can pull up a lot of fun combos, whether it's Scoundrels. I've seen people use it with separatist lines with Newt Gunray, some really funny stuff going on. But really, once you start pairing them, for example, with Beskar Armor Mandalorian or Galactic Legends Rey, you can really start bumping up the tiers of these characters, and they can go as high as the Grand Master status. If they're with Rey, IG-11 and Queel are a deadly combo. Throw in Vander Chewbacca in there, and your team is going to be so incredibly thick. You're going to have to force your opponents, if they are using Darth Vader, they got to fight the clock and hurry up as fast as possible. So I love the addition of IG-11 and Queel this year in 2020. Some of my favorite characters that were added here. But other things I want to point out is Ki-Adi-Mundi, no longer an unranked character. Back in September 2020, we had him as an unranked character because we just didn't have the data. Now more and more people are having those 7-star Ki-Adi-Mundi, and he seems to be a good middle-of-the-rung Jedi. And when you plug him in the right lineups, for example, like Qui-Gon Jinn, or some of those other Galactic Republic Jedi teams, or, for example, Jedi Revan or Jedi Master Luke, he can definitely have the potential of reaching a master level of viability inside a Galaxy series. But the other notable changes that we have here are going to be some things that we move down from the Master category, that being Asajj Ventress, Mother Talzin, as well as Jolie Bindle, and R2D2 as well, and Sith Trooper Larry got moved down a little bit. And don't get this wrong, being in the Knight category does not mean you're a trash tier character. It's good to be in the Knight category. When I look for characters, I at least want to see, okay, are you a Knight level viable character? Because that's a good thing to have. Or these characters don't have as much standalone viability in the game as a lot of the other characters nowadays in Galaxies, but put in the right lineup. For example, Jolie Bindle with Jedi, of course, that's going to be a very powerful combo. If you're someone that still uses Jedi Knight Revan up against General Grievous, and Night Sisters, still a very important team. Individually, they're not going to be all that crazy, but putting them together, Night Sisters are doing amazing work, such as countering Commander Luke Skywalker. But let's start getting to the top of this cake and get closer and closer to the cherry on top, and that is going to be the Master category. Here, these are a lot of important characters in Galaxy Heroes. A lot of these characters are some of the best standalone viable characters in Galaxy Series, but they get even better when put in the right lineup. And a lot of these characters are going to be incredibly important for countering Grandmaster characters, but more importantly nowadays, you want to put together teams that counter the Galactic Legends. And I want to first talk about the two new additions to this that did not exist back in September 2020, and that is going to be Moff Gideon and Beskar Armor Mandalorian. Both of them were throwing inside of the Master category, and I'm going to be quite straight up honest with you guys. I personally find Moff Gideon to be a better character overall than Beskar Armor Mandalorian, especially Moff Gideon's plug and play viability. we kind of call right now the mini Wat Tambor because you can put him in multiple different lineups. We've been using Moth getting to help Darth Vader without Wat Tambor beat Galactic Legends, right? Or with Wat Tambor, whatever suits your fancy. He's also great with Sith Eternal, nerfs Rey's ultimate ability to just non-existent damage almost. And we also see him being used of Bounty Hunters, Scoundrels, taking on General Anakin Skywalker teams. He's got so much plug and play viability. And then there's Beskar Armor Mandalorian, the latest Journey character, and I can't recall in recent history where a new legendary-ish character, Journey, Epic Confrontation, whatever the case might be, not hit the Grandmaster stats. We've talked about this quite a lot. In this upcoming year of 2021, it seems like the plan is to add a couple more Season 1 characters. We have the armor supposed to come out in January 2021, and probably even more characters. We're confirmed Season 2 characters from The Mandalorian to come to Galaxies, and I suspect that'll help Beskar Armor Mando try to get to more of that Grandmaster status. But right now, Beskar Armor Mandalorian's overall viability is decent. It's pretty darn good, having the built-in damage immunity through Wonder the Force, and when he sets himself up right, he can do a pretty good Whistling Birds combo. Overall, I don't think he's going to be a Grandmaster character like a lot of people were hoping that he'd be in Grandmaster when we got the confirmation, but right now he's just a pretty good character that has a higher ceiling of potential. And the rest of these characters, it shouldn't be anything new. We all know these guys are up in this list here, especially Han Solo, Chewbacca. Those guys are used for many teams, whether it's Commander Luke Skywalker or helping out General Anakin Skywalker take out Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Let's move on up to the Grandmaster category. The Grandmaster category is reserved for non-Galactic Legends characters that have amazing all-around plug-and-play viability. These characters can be used in multiple different lineups, and furthermore, I think probably the most important thing is every single one of these characters are incredibly important for countering Galactic Legends. You're basically looking at the faces of those, making sure the Galactic Legends don't completely ruin the experience in Galaxies. When a new Galactic Legend comes out, we're quickly trying to find, all right, what are the counters lined up for us to take out those teams? And every single one of these characters are incredibly important. And aside from countering Galactic Legends, that's not the only criteria to be a Grandmaster, because of course, a lot of the other Master and Knight characters can also counter Galactic Legends, but these guys are kind of the cornerstones to making sure those counters work. But furthermore, they also have great plug and play viability. So even though if you're not going to be going up against a Galactic Legend, things like, for example, General Anakin Skywalker can be used for multiple different lineups, and their kit is so versatile, and it's going to be a cornerstone for future Galactic Legends coming to Galaxies. I mean, heck, even General Kenobi, if you know the joke, every single time a new character comes out the Galaxies and developers give out recommended synergies, General Kenobi's on the list like every single time. He could be used at any type of lineup, and Darth Vader being probably one of the best things that's happened in Galaxies for the free-to-play player base, and just in general, one of the best reworks of all time. He is great up against Galactic Legends, being put in multiple different Sith lineups, Empire lineups, or sometimes I see him in places where he shouldn't belong, but he's there doing amazing work, and he can solo so many teams out there, like Geonosians, crazy stuff that Darth Vader's bringing. These are the characters you really want to strive for in Galaxies. These are going to be moving your roster to a higher level to take on things like Grand Arena and, of course, Squad Arena. And, you know, we got to get to this last category. We had 2 new Galactic Legends be added in Galaxies since September 2020. That being Sith Eternal, Gucci Sweater, Palpatine, as well as Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. Now, in case you're curious, we did a whole video kind of doing an in-depth view. What are the best overall Galactic Legends in Galaxies? Card in the top right-hand corner if you want to go check it out. Overall, all these Galactic Legends are fantastic, but not every Galactic Legend is made equally for the same exact purposes. I highly recommend you watch it. No matter which Galactic Legend you get, they're going to be important for something in the game, and it seems like this is the path going forward. I'm not sure if this is going to be the history going forward for new Galactic Legends every year, but I'm definitely expecting at least 2 new Galactic Legends every single year that's going to be changing the arena landscape, and that could be for a good or bad thing. Some of these Galactic Legends brought viability to characters that were never used for, and now they're being used of some of these Galactic Legends, but they also brought a revitalization to a lot of characters that weren't useful, but now those characters are important to countering these Galactic Legends. Like even Gary the Stormtrooper, a garbage tier character overall in this game, has been found to be a decent counter to Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. So whether or not you like Galactic Legends, they are here to stay, and that's going to be kind of considered the top level of the meta, and they're going to be kind of creating diversity within that sphere, but also they're kind of creating diversity in the lower tiers, waking up characters that might not be used all that much and making them important for the Galactic Legends that are now here for the end of time in Galaxies. Who knows if there's going to be a higher tier beyond Galactic Legends. I feel like Galactic Legends is the highest we're ever going to go. And then we have the Journeys, Epic Confrontations. You guys know the drill at this point. That's it, though. That is going to be our complete list for 2020. All characters ranked from best to worst. I guess in some way you can kind of consider this to be the beginning of 2021. All characters ranked from best to worst. But guys, yet again, I want to thank you for an amazing year we've had on the channel. Thank you all for your support. Hopefully you do find these videos helpful and entertaining. And of course, in 2021, you better believe we got more fun coming your way. Like if you did enjoy the video, comment down below on all your beautiful thoughts, and be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And if you want all this stuff, be sure to check down below in the video description for the graphic or the spreadsheet. And the most important thing, always remember, it's great to be in the Empire today.